This is the sky, specifically the sky as I captured on one very specific evening. There are many factors that make up this image: the physics of light and our atmosphere, the position of the sun relative to this window, the rotation of the earth, and so on. Perhaps if you thought hard enough, you could list all the possible factors that resulted in this very image of the sky. But what if you took that depth and reasoning and applied it to people? If you're like me, which is humanly impossible, you'd be a hard determinist. If you've never heard of that before, disclaimer, it has something to do with philosophy and free will, which are really deep subjects, but I want to talk precisely that today for what will hopefully be good reasons. Now, for a more in-depth rundown of determinism and free will, you can watch this video by Crash Course, which really explains the conflicting nature of the two philosophies. But for the purposes of this video, I'm mainly going to be talking about determinism and how I think it can benefit you and the people around you. To start, this is how I'd explain at least my own hard determinism. The universe was made by a series of complicated, chaotic reactions which resulted in Earth, and then life on Earth, and then humans, and then the entire world of humans and complicated human concepts that we all know and love today, which is including but not limited to the lives of you and me. So it's less of fate in everything's been planned out kind of way, and more of a let's put everything together and see how they react kind of way. The universe is kind of like a giant chemical lab experiment. Well, this is my logic. Humans are biological creatures, right? We must adhere to the laws of physics and optionally the laws of countries and stuff. And so our choices are a biological process that involves things like our chemicals, our genetics, the physical state of our brains, and the reactions that we had to the environments that we grew up in. And so in essence, free will is an illusion in our choices are really just chaotic reactions to both things inside of us and the things around us. Just like there are many different factors that make the image of the sky, there are many different factors out of your control that make you, you. And the same thing goes for everyone else in the world. At the very least, this is how I view things. Some people claim that hard determinism is a way to be more compassionate because you empathize with the idea that people don't behave the way they do because they want to, but because this is just how they were brought up genetically and socially. So I really can't blame people for being or doing something that's wrong to you, because in reality they don't really have any control over their actions, attitude, or behavior. The lack of free will also means the lack of moral responsibility, since theoretically you don't have any control over your actions. But here's the thing, I believe that even if you do believe in hard determinism, you should behave as if you do have free will. The idea of responsibility helps to keep us motivated to, well, be responsible for our actions. And as far as we are conscious of our actions and feel as if we have control of them, we should act like we do. I mean, realistically, there's no other way to behave naturally anyway. However, what we should take away from hard determinism is to be more forgiving towards others, because whatever they do and have done is limited by their growth as a human being until this very moment. To put it into one sentence, we should hold people responsible, but we shouldn't hold them at fault. It's a way to be more compassionate, more forgiving, and helps us to understand others, or at least give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, the problem with this is that it sounds good on paper, but there are situations where traditionally people have done things with intentions that may have harmed other people, be it physically or non-physically, and it's just a lot easier to put the label of blame on them. And you know what? I don't really have an answer to that. Okay, maybe we should go back to that single sentence summary and add in case they have done something without intent or out of ignorance. Hard determinism is also a way to be more forgiving to yourself, to realize that things don't happen out of some grand conspiracy to make your day a horrible one, but instead things just happen because they do. I'm talking about things like getting sick, printer problems, getting injured, or those times when your friends just happen to not be able to make it for those plans that you've been planning on. It is to understand that no matter how many horrible things happen in a day, a week, a month, a year, know that these are just the result of a chaotic combination of reactions in the universe. Things just happen to happen. Now another question comes to mind. Why don't we live more like this? Why aren't we more forgiving? Why do we blame people or push them off for what they are, even though they don't have any control over what they are? And the answer to that is energy. And this is something that I'm going to keep on coming back to. The idea that it takes up a lot of energy to keep being positive, optimistic, and patient. And it's the one reason why I think we keep on cutting short our thinking, to go back to our traditional ideas of blames and yous and oh, the universe hates me and why can't things just get better already, etc, etc. It takes a lot of mental energy to really be willing and patient enough to try and understand everything and everyone in the world, or at least treat them in an objective manner. But as hippie as this might sound, this kind of thinking really does make me feel more connected to the chaotic nature of the universe and the world and the people that are living in it. It really is the best way of thinking to me, and I can't go back to cutting short my understanding. Of course, I'm not always in the right state of mind all the time. In fact, being sick reduced a lot of my patience. But as far as I can, I want to consistently strive towards it. And you should too, to remember that no one had any say in who they have become. Because in a sense, neither did you. How many f***ing paragraphs are there here? Holy shit.
This is like 53 minutes as of right now.
Oh my gosh.